Hello, I'm going to present today for my Shakespeare research project about the play Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy. It's a tragedy because the main characters end up dying, and it's a sad story. It's a tragedy. What is the setting of this play? The play is set in Verona, Italy, probably in the 1590s, right around there. So here's an image of Verona, Italy. And it's generally believed that it was based on a real Italian love story from many centuries before, based on two families that were very powerful at that time. And there was also a poem written before Shakespeare wrote this play. So there were some resources he was drawing on. So who are the main characters? So obviously the play is called Romeo and Juliet. So our main characters are Romeo and Juliet. Romeo is a Montague and Juliet is a Capulet. And their two families are enemies. When they meet, they do not know that they are from enemy families and they instantly fall in love. Romeo is passionate. He has lots of anxiety. He changes from the beginning of the play. He loves one girl, and then suddenly he meets Juliet, and now he loves her. He has a code of honor, and he's very young. We don't know exactly how young he is. Juliet is very witty. She has smart little things that she says back to Romeo. She's very intelligent, determined. She's sexually forward. She's only 13 years old. And yeah, okay, vulnerable. So he's probably a teenager also, but she was only 13. So in this picture over here, we see Romeo and Juliet. And Romeo's family are Lord and Lady Montague. Okay. Juliet's family are Lord and Lady Capulet. We also have Tybalt, who are Juliet's cousin, and then Mercutio, who's Romeo's friend, and then the friar is the one that marries the two of them in secret and is partly responsible for the confusion that leads to their death. The nurse is also a part of that. She helps Juliet run away with Romeo to get married. So what happens in the story? I've already told you a couple of things. Let's go through it. So first, at the beginning, there's a duel, which is how people handled their battles in those days, their fights. The Montagues and the Capulets end up having some sort of street fight. And there's a threat. The prince says the next to fight will die. We also call that foreshadowing. There is a masquerade ball where Romeo and Juliet meet. And this is a Capulet ball, okay? Romeo's not supposed to be there, but he sneaks in because everyone's in costume. And he falls in love with Juliet. Okay, they arrange a secret wedding. But at this time, there's a fight between Romeo's best friend and Tybalt, who is Juliet's cousin, okay? And somehow Romeo gets in the middle. He's trying to stop the fight, and he ends up killing Juliet's cousin. Of course, this is very sad. She just learned that the man she loves just killed her cousin. She's married to him, though. It's her husband. And to make her happy, her dad says that she is going to go marry an old guy named Paris. So Friar Lawrence is the one that arranged this sleeping potion. To avoid marrying Paris, first of all, she's already married. Okay, and secondly, she doesn't want to marry this old person. Juliet takes a sleeping potion so everyone will think that she's dead. However, Romeo doesn't know about this plan. Okay, so when Romeo finds her sleeping, he thinks she's really dead. So he ends up killing himself. Juliet wakes up and she finds out that Romeo is dead, and so she kills herself. That's why it's a tragedy. And I found a nice website, Park Notes, which I'll show you some of. Dueling. So I'm going to move. Okay, there you go. The story. So the ending. Aww. So the way the story ends is the two families have promised that they will no longer be enemies and that they will get along. So at least there's a good ending. So famous quotes from the story. What's in a name? That which we call rose by any other word would smell as sweet. And we've heard many people say, oh, a rose by any other name. That's from this play. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be tomorrow. And then a plague on both your houses. And you kiss by the book, and the idea of star-crossed lovers. Those are famous quotes. I want to show you a clip from one of the movies that shows you kiss by the book. And there's some kissing. There you go, you kiss by the book. And then the famous part where they realize that they're actually enemies. Now I go back to my slideshow. The last thing I wanted to show you, what everyone should know, is that there have been many, many movies and versions of Romeo and Juliet. I just showed part of this one. There's also a famous musical, West Side Story, that takes the idea of warring families and puts it in New York City, uh, where there's like a gang warfare that separates two families, uh, two races really. And there's, people fall in love, it's forbidden, it's the same story. There's one made from a few years ago, Rome and Jewel. It's also the Romeo and Juliet story. And that's what everyone should know. It's still a famous story. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.